So moving to Japan must mean that you automatically get good at Japanese, right? I mean, you're surrounded by it all the time. I mean, it just makes sense that you would naturally absorb more information and get better at the language over time, right? I don't think so. I really don't think so. In fact, I think that it's incredibly easy to create a bubble for yourself nowadays. I mean, you can do so much stuff. You could work from home as an English teacher using only English and hang out with foreigners and just never use Japanese, right? So the idea of, I think a lot of people have this idea of like waiting until they get to Japan to study Japanese, but when you move to Japan, you may have the same problems with motivation, right? So what do I think you should do? Well, my advice would be to create a bubble for yourself where you're making it as easy as humanly possible to pick up a pen, pick up an app, start watching a show, and start studying Japanese. You want to reduce the amount of time it takes for you to start doing the task. I actually learned this by playing guitar. Guitarist. Another guitarist. I learned this by playing guitar. Before I came to Japan, I studied at music school. I studied in the music program at a university for a year, and in order to get into university, I had to learn how to play three classical guitar pieces by memory. So I had to memorize like 6 minutes, 8 minutes of music, and perform that in front of a whole group of people. And the way I achieved that was that I always had my guitar sitting there ready to go. I always had it on the bed. I always had it on the side of the piano. I always had it on the stand. It was always just there so I could pick it up. And that allowed me to just, hey, I'll practice for 20 minutes. And then you start practicing for 30 minutes and then an hour. You need to be doing that same thing with Japanese. And so what I suggest doing is get a notebook, get a nice notebook, invest like $20 in a notebook and a decent pen, and just have that shit out. Have that shit out. Just leave it there, and then every time you start your day, look at it for 10 minutes. It'll probably turn into 20. You'll start studying more. I also think there's a lot of merit to creating a Japanese only environment that might only be for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour at a time, whatever. But just an environment where you go into that environment and you only use Japanese. So that can be, the area around your computer. I don't think there's a lot of merit in changing your PC to Japanese, like your settings. That doesn't really matter. But I think, choosing to watch like a Japanese news, Japanese show, talk to yourself in Japanese, download Hello Talk, go in the voice rooms. Well, that might be a little dangerous because I think those tend to switch to English easily. But send messages to people in Japanese, voice messages, write your own thoughts down in Japanese. Just spend as much time as you can producing and listening to it and making that habit easier to pick up and get started. Because starting is the hardest part. I mean, anything in life is like this, but especially with language learning, starting is the hardest part. So just make it very easy to start. A lot of people hate on Duolingo, and I completely understand that, and I honestly feel kind of torn about even using it now because they're using AI and stuff to replace their employees, which I think is bullshit. But I do think something good about having an app like Duolingo on your phone is it's like you just pick it up for 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. I suggest finding something like that as well. Duolingo is not very good for Asian languages, I don't think. But find something else. Find an app, find something. Just lower the amount of time it takes for you to start studying. And trust me, guys, once you move here, it doesn't really get that much easier. I mean, you have more opportunities to use Japanese and to just like naturally go out and speak with people and make friends and all of that. But, I know people here who've lived here for, 20 years and they don't speak any Japanese. I mean, it's really something you have to force yourself to do. The more you force yourself to do it, the more fun it becomes. So, don't give up. Just try to enjoy the process. There's no end. I've been doing this for 10 years and there's still Japanese I need to learn. And I'm, well past N1 at this point. There's always going to be Japanese I need to learn forever until I'm dead and in the ground. That's it. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, I'm trying to also get some followers on Instagram as well. I'll be posting more content and more things over there about studying Japanese, life in Japan, personal thoughts, projects, all that. So if you would follow me on Instagram and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. God, I feel scummy saying that. But the reality is if you don't do call to action, you know, it's hard to get anything going. So thank you for watching up to this point. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day or night. Okay, see ya.